Imagine a world where monsters aren't born from hell or another dimension. They're created by people. Fear, grief, hatred, things humans carry around every day, slowly pile up and turn into curses. Now imagine accidentally becoming the host of the most dangerous curse to ever exist. That's Jujutsu Kaisen. Right away, Jujutsu Kaisen makes its rules clear. Curses exist everywhere, hiding in places people pass by every day. Schools, hospitals, abandoned buildings. Most people can't see them, but they still suffer the consequences. That's why Jujutsu sorcerers exist. They're trained to fight curses using cursed energy, basically weaponizing negative emotions against themselves. And the important thing here is that this world isn't heroic or clean. People die fast, sometimes randomly, and the story never pretends that everyone can be saved. We start with Yuji Itadori, who feels almost too normal for this kind of story. He's athletic, friendly, and genuinely kind. He spends most of his free time visiting his grandfather in the hospital. Before his grandfather dies, he leaves Yuji with one simple message: help people, and don't die alone. That idea sticks with Yuji, and without realizing it, it ends up defining every decision he makes from that point on. At school, Yuji's friends from the occult research club mess with a cursed object they don't understand: a shriveled finger wrapped in talismans. That finger belongs to Ryomen Sukuna, a legendary curse so powerful that even after death, his remains couldn't be destroyed. Each finger acts like a magnet for curses. Once the seal breaks, curses flood the school almost immediately. This is where Megumi Fushiguro enters the story. He's already a jujutsu sorcerer sent to retrieve the finger, and he quickly realizes how bad the situation is. Yuji has no idea what's going on, but when his friends are in danger, he doesn't hesitate. He jumps in to help, even though he shouldn't be able to fight curses at all, and somehow he keeps up. That's the first hint that Yuji might be more than just a normal kid. Eventually, it becomes clear they won't survive unless something drastic happens. The curses won't stop, and running isn't an option. So Yuji makes a decision that no one should ever have to make. He eats the finger. There's no ritual, no plan, just desperation. And instantly, Sukuna awakens. Sukuna isn't misunderstood or tragic. He's cruel, arrogant, and openly enjoys human suffering. The moment he takes control, it's obvious this isn't a power anyone should have. What shocks everyone is that Yuji doesn't disappear. Instead, he regains control of his body, something that should be impossible. Yuji becomes something unheard of, a human capable of suppressing Sukuna. That makes him incredibly valuable. And incredibly dangerous. That's when Satoru Gojo shows up. Gojo is introduced as playful and relaxed, but it's immediately obvious that he's on a completely different level. He handles Sukuna effortlessly, proving that even the strongest curse isn't untouchable. After that, the verdict comes down quickly. Yuji Itadori is sentenced to death. The higher-ups want Yuji executed immediately, but Gojo intervenes with a risky proposal. Instead of killing Yuji now, he suggests letting him live long enough to consume all of Sukuna's fingers, fully resurrecting the curse, and then executing him once it's over. It's dangerous and cruel in its own way, but from their perspective, it's logical. One life to eliminate Sukuna forever. Yuji agrees, not because he wants to die, but because if he's going to die anyway, he wants that death to actually protect people. Yuji is enrolled at Tokyo Jujutsu High, where he trains alongside Megumi and a new character, Nobara Kugisaki. Nobara is loud, confident, and completely unapologetic about who she is, which immediately shakes up the group dynamic. They don't feel like a perfectly synchronized team. They argue, clash, and mess up, which honestly makes their bond feel real instead of forced. Their early missions aren't flashy battles. They're unsettling. Curses hide in places that should feel safe. This is where the show quietly slips in its main idea. Curses aren't rare disasters. They're a natural byproduct of human suffering. Even when Sukuna isn't actively taking control, Yuji can feel him there, watching, waiting, and clearly amused by everything happening around him. Carrying Sukuna starts to isolate Yuji. People treat him like a ticking time bomb, not a hero. And for the first time, Yuji realizes that trying to help people doesn't always make others trust you. Sometimes it just makes them afraid of you. What makes Jujutsu Kaisen's opening so strong isn't just the action. It's the pressure. Yuji doesn't fight because he wants to be special. He fights because if he doesn't, people die. And even then, he knows his life has an expiration date. The story establishes a world where good intentions don't guarantee good outcomes, and power always comes with a cost someone has to pay. And this is only the beginning. As the story continues, the curses grow smarter, the enemies become more human, and Yuji's beliefs are pushed to their breaking point. Next comes Mahito, Junpei, and the moment where Yuji truly learns that not every death can be prevented. This is where the series stops feeling dark and starts feeling cruel. Up to this point, most curses feel like monsters, dangerous but distant. Mahito changes that immediately. He isn't loud or aggressive. He's curious, playful, almost friendly. Mahito is a curse born from humanity's hatred of other humans, which means he understands people in a way most curses don't. His ability lets him manipulate the human soul itself. And the terrifying part is that, to him, this isn't cruelty, it's research. Mahito doesn't kill out of rage. He experiments. Mahito's introduction forces Yuji into a moral situation he isn't ready for. These aren't curses. They're people who can't be saved. Yuji freezing here matters. It's the first time the story openly challenges his core belief that everyone can be helped if you try hard enough. And Sukuna, watching from inside, finds it hilarious. When Mahito enters Sukuna's domain, any hope of cooperation dies instantly. Sukuna isn't threatened. He's offended. And by refusing to help Yuji, Sukuna makes something clear. He isn't a hidden advantage. He's another enemy. Junpei Yoshino isn't special, and that's the point. He's isolated, bullied, ignored, and quietly drowning in resentment. Mahito doesn't force Junpei into anything. He listens. And that makes Mahito far more dangerous than any brute force curse. Yuji meeting Junpei under normal circumstances is intentional. This is what Junpei could have been. Someone pulled back from the edge, which makes what happens next feel inevitable instead of shocking. Junpei isn't controlled. He's guided. This arc shows that curses don't just kill people, they weaponize human pain. Mahito turning Junpei in front of Yuji isn't about killing Junpei. It's about breaking Yuji. For the first time, Yuji isn't fighting to save someone. He's fighting because he hates Mahito. Nanami's role is critical here. He teaches Yuji something uncomfortable but necessary. Emotions matter. But they can't lead the fight. This is where Yuji begins transitioning from a kind person who fights to a fighter who still cares. So Mahito survives. And that matters more than if he had lost. Some enemies don't exist to be defeated once. They exist to come back changed. Yuji doesn't lose his empathy. He loses his certainty. And that makes him far more dangerous and far more human. The Kyoto Goodwill event. What looks like a tournament is actually an execution attempt disguised as tradition. This arc exposes how broken the Jujutsu system really is. Even children are expendable if the rules demand it. Aoi Todo's absurdity masks something important. He's the first person to choose Yuji without conditions, and that matters more than training ever could. The Death Painting arc. This arc asks the hardest question Jujutsu Kaisen has raised so far. What if the enemy isn't evil, just loyal? Eso and Keichizu aren't curses driven by chaos or hunger. They're brothers, created unnaturally, abandoned by the world, and bound together by the only thing they were ever given: each other. As death paintings, they exist in a space that denies them a normal moral framework. They weren't raised with human ethics, choice, or opportunity. Their purpose was decided before they were even born. So when they fight Yuji and Nobara, it isn't out of cruelty, it's out of duty. They are protecting each other, they are obeying the role assigned to them. They are doing exactly what they were created to do. And that's what makes the conflict uncomfortable. Yuji killing Eso and Keichizu is not framed as a victory. There's no triumph, no relief, no sense of justice served. It's framed as necessity. Yuji doesn't defeat monsters. He ends lives that were already doomed, and for the first time, he understands that distinction.